In this problem, we're told that the test statistic of z equals negative 1.95 is obtained when testing the claim that p is less than 0.82. So we'll start by writing down the null hypothesis, and that's that p is equal to 0.82. The alternative hypothesis is that p is less than 0.82. So how do I know this? Because the claim says that p is less than 0.82. That has to be either the null or the alternative hypothesis. And because it's a less than statement, that makes it the alternative hypothesis. And the null hypothesis is going to be the same statement, only with an equal sign in it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to test which one of these is more believable based on our sample information. So we're going to use the significance level of alpha equals 0.10 to find the critical value or values. In this problem, we're doing a left tail test. And I know that from the alternative hypothesis because that's a less than statement. So if I draw my distribution, what's going on here is that we are going to do a left tail test with alpha is 0.10. That means that all of that alpha is in one tail, the tail on the left. Alpha is 0.10 here. So what we're going to look for is what is z sub 0.10. And it's really negative because it's on the negative side. So to calculate this, I'm just going to do inverse norm because we're using the normal distribution. So it's inverse norm. We've got 0.10 in area on the left, or 10% of the area on the left. And then the mean and standard deviation are 0 and 1. When I put this in, I get negative 1.28. So that's my critical value. And that is part 1 of the problem. So that's negative 1.28. In part B, it asks if we should reject the null hypothesis or should we fail to reject the null hypothesis. So what I want to do, let's clean this up a little bit. All right, so we have our critical value is negative 1.28. And then I want to know, where is my test statistic going to fall? The test statistic is negative 1.95, so that's going to be further out into the tail than the critical value. So my test statistic is falling in the rejection region, and that means we're going to reject the null hypothesis. So we're either going to reject or fail to reject the null hypothesis. In this case, it's reject because we're falling in the rejection region. Your sample information is falling significantly far away from the center. So how do we know if it's significantly far away? It has to be past that critical value. So we're rejecting the null hypothesis, and that is the final answer there.